Hey there, I'm Steve, and welcome to Jamsin Entertainment. And welcome to the conversation. Before we get started, there are many ways you can help. You can like and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. But most importantly, please share this video. Make sure we're getting the word out there that there's a community where we can talk about all the things that we love. Today on Throwback Thursday, we're looking at The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, the final movie in the Man with No Name series. On the box set that I have, it says trilogy, but I see trilogy and series as two different things when it's talking about story. Series, they're not necessarily tied together except for maybe the characters and the setting. Trilogy is one continual story. This is most certainly a series, and as I mentioned in the last review, for a few dollars more, this is an anthology series. Even Clint Eastwood's character's name changed again. He's called Blondie in this one. And I'm okay with this being an anthology series. It works really well. And The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is my favorite out of the three movies. Much like the first two films, the first third is introducing the characters and the plot. The second third is getting to the Jamsin in this case. This one's all about getting to a graveyard that has 200,000 gold pieces in it. And the last third is them arriving and, well, getting the gold. This movie, even though it's called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, it introduces those characters backwards and continues to do that towards the very end. It introduces the ugly first, then the bad, then the good. I'm not quite sure why Clint Eastwood's character is labeled good. He's not really a good guy. I mean, he might be morally good compared to the bad and the ugly, sure, but he's still a bad guy. He's introduced by saving the life of the ugly, his name is Tuco, and he has a bounty on his head. Blondie and Tuco have an agreement. Tuco gets captured, Blondie collects the reward. Blondie saves Tuco. The method of execution is hanging, and each time Tuco is about to be hanged, and Blondie shoots the noose, letting loose Tuco. They meet up, they split the money. The bad, you would think it's still Colonel Mortimer, because it's played by the same actor, Lee Van Cleef. It's not. He's playing a completely different person. Another reason why this is an anthology series and not an actual trilogy. He's the bad. He's also his character's name or his alias is Angel Eyes. The most you find out about him is that he's just a criminal that has a small band of other criminals that work for him, and you don't really find that out until later. He's kind of like the wild card in this movie, because really it's the good and the ugly for 2/3 of this movie. The way the bad is woven in there is really loosely. He's introduced, you think he's just a bounty hunter, like Colonel Mortimer was in For a Few Dollars More. Turns out he's just a man looking for the gold. Somehow he knows about the gold, because he's looking for this certain soldier from the Confederates. One thing I forgot to mention, this takes place during the Civil War. One of the Confederates is named Bill Carson. He knows the location of the gold. And Angel Eyes is looking for Bill Carson so he can find the location and retrieve the gold. He's introduced to, he goes to this house and brutally kills his family to get this information. So this is the darker one too. I mean, I know the last one was kind of dark because the bad guy in that one killed a family, but this one can be pretty dark. The next time you see the bad is he is a sergeant in the Union Army. He's a sergeant at a prisoner of war camp, and I guess he's there to find Bill Carson instead of looking for him out in the wild. He figures at some point the guy will probably get captured. I can just interrogate him when he get captured. But he just kind of appears at this prisoner of war camp, and the good and the ugly, Blondie and Tuco, they get captured because, well, Blondie kind of screws over Tuco by ending their contract and taking all the money with him. He goes in the next town because he has another bounty that he made an agreement with. Tuco runs into Blondie at the town, which was under Confederate occupation, and then throughout the scene it becomes Union occupied. And because of that, there's artillery fire and the town gets destroyed, while Tuco is trying to get one up on Blondie. I don't want to give everything away. I'm starting to do what I used to do in my reviews and just kind of recount the entire movie. At some point, Tuco takes Blondie prisoner, and he takes him through the desert 100 miles. Blondie has no water. Tuco has a horse and all the water, and he's just getting revenge on him. At some point, there's a 6-horse drawn carriage carrying dead and one wounded Confederate soldier, which is Bill Carson, who has all the information of where the gold is. Tuco goes to see what all the commotion's about because this carriage just comes out of nowhere, and then he finds Bill Carson and he learns about the gold. Carson doesn't tell him which grave, because this is at a cemetery the gold is buried at, he needs to go to collect the gold. Meanwhile, Blondie he's almost dead. He's crawling his way over to the carriage, probably thinking he can get some water, and he talks to Bill Carson. The only reason why Bill Carson tells Blondie because he sees that Blondie's on death's doorstep as well. So he figures there's no harm in telling him. He's going to die shortly after I die. So he tells Blondie. Blondie doesn't die, though. It's a great dynamic between Blondie and Tuco. They're hilarious together. It's absolutely hysterical. Because they're both smart, but Blondie's just a little smarter, and he just kind of pulls the rug out under Tuco time and time again. It's really funny. But the bad just keeps on popping up conveniently. And that's he's just not woven into the story all that well. That's like the only flaw with this movie. Angel Eyes is not woven into the story very well. Other than that, I love this movie. I'd still suggest you get like a box set of this. I would suggest you get it on Blu-ray. I mean, for a few dollars more is the weakest of the three, but the first and the third are so good. If you get the collection on Blu-ray, I'd say that's worth it. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and which is your favorite out of the Man with No Name series. Next week, I'm going to continue with Clint Eastwood, and I'm going to do his most recent one, The Mule. I know I have some recommendations from you out there. I need to get copies of the movies that have been recommended to me, and you'll see them down the line. If you like what you saw, like it. If you think other people like it, share it. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and live your imagination.